Okay, so we have a longer question here that wants the mean value and then some other things like that. So let's go ahead and do this. So it says they recorded the number of burgers and hot dogs sold in the restaurant, and they're comparing them to each other to see if there's a correlation between the two. So the first thing it wants the mean for x and the mean for y. Now you could go through and do this the long way by adding all those x's up and dividing by how many there are. But if you look down, it says find the regression equation. So these are going to have to be in a calculator anyways. So the calculator will find those x and y values for me. All right. And since I need them in the calculator in the long run anyways, it'll save me time. Just put them in there now. So I'm going to clear those. I'm going to clear those. If you did this by adding them all together and dividing by how many there are, you would get the same answer. So if that was your instinct, you're fine because you should have got the same answer if you did it correctly. So I'm trying to be careful so I don't make any mistakes. If you're watching a bunch of these videos, you've probably seen me do one of these wrong. Please tell me that I did it wrong so I can go back and correct it. Okay, so there's all of those in there. So then I'm going to make that bigger. Stat, calculate. Now I want the mean. That's in number 2. All right, 2 variable stats will give you the means. So there's my x bar and there's my y bar. So 27.5 and 41.3. All right, so mean of x. It's not really going to click on it off of it. So the mean of x is 27.5, again, 3 significant figures, and then 41.3, 3 significant figures. Okay, so there's my means. So it says find the regression equation and plot on the scatter line above. All right, so this is where I have to be careful. So I'm going to find the regression line just like I normally do. So I'm going to go to my calculator, and I'm going to hit stat, calculate, number 4. All right, and it gives me that right there. So my regression equation is 1.43x. So y equals 1.43x plus 2.06. Okay, now I got to have a reasonable line on here. So I really should plot the 27.5 and the 41.3 as close as I can. All right, so 27.5 is going to be right in here on that line. And 41.3 is going to be right in there. So if I go ahead and plot this on here, it's going to be right about there. All right, I'm going to label it with an M. Okay, now the line has to go through that point. I probably should make it a different color. So it's important to show that it goes through that line. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my line kind of down the middle. I'm not going to be super concerned with this, maybe, because this 2.06 is way off the graph anyways. So let's see here. That looks pretty good. All right. If you got a ruler or a straight edge or something, definitely use that so that it's a nice straight line. Okay, they're not going to take off if it's not perfect because we're not grabbing it perfectly. We're just doing the best we can. So it says use your regression equation to estimate the number of hot dogs sold when 22 burgers are sold. Super important here to make sure we read burgers is X. So that's going in for the X value. They may try to slip one in there where they're giving the hot dogs. So that's going in the calculator. So 33.52. Now again, I really should do 3 significant figures, 33.5. Okay, which again, you probably could round to the nearest integer and say, because then we're not going to sell half of a burger. But it doesn't say that we need to do that. So we can, say 33.5, we can say 34, we can say 33. All of those are justifiable based on that, and they should take any of those answers.